Today I'm here to talk to you about a funny little German preposition called in. It changes a lot. It's very confusing sometimes, but we love it anyways. But before we get started, my name is Carlie Sitzman, and I am a linguist who helps people learn German and communicate effectively in the language. So if you like getting interesting videos about German grammar and culture, subscribe below, hit the like button, hit notifications, and join me for my other videos. Okay, good old in. You've probably noticed that sometimes it's in, sometimes it's ins, sometimes it's im with an M, and it's never really consistent as far as cases go, right? Sometimes it's accusative, sometimes it's dative. In changes a lot. So let's address the cases first, and then we'll go into why it morphs all the time. Now, if you're not familiar with German cases, I did make a video defining those, hopefully in very simple terms. So if you need a refresher, go ahead and visit that video. I'll put the link here. If not, we'll just keep going. So in is a so-called two-way preposition, which means it can be either accusative or dative. And what I like to say is just assume that it's dative by default. And what you want to do is pay close attention to scenarios where you might use into in English. And that preposition into kind of implies that you're moving from one place to another, right? In German, they don't have that word into, and they need to show that movement some other way. So the way they do it is by changing the case of in from dative to accusative. So if you want to say you are going into the city, you could say, Ich gehe in die Stadt. Die is the accusative version of die. So that shows you that you are moving into the city. If you want to say that you are moving around inside of the city already, so no movement in or out, you could say, Ich gehe in der Stadt. So then we have der, which is the dative form of die, which is showing you that there's no movement, that you would not use into in English. And yeah, that's basically it. So keep that in mind. You have to watch out for that change between accusative and dative depending on the situation. Now, you also have this aspect within that it's morphing, right? It could be ins, it could be im. Why does that happen? Basically, the reason is that when people have been talking for a long time in a language, they tend to come up with shortcuts. Like in English, instead of saying what is, a lot of times you'll just say what's up, instead of what is up, what's up. So these changes to in often are kind of a form of shortening. So here's an example. You could say, Ich gehe ins Zimmer. That means I go into the room. And ins is one of these morphed versions of in that actually means in das. So in das is frequently shortened to ins. And if you look at it, in das is the accusative form, showing us that movement as well. Okay, you could also say, Ich gehe im Zimmer, and that means I'm walking around inside of the room already. I'm not going into it at all. So, Ich gehe im Zimmer. Im is the way that in dem is often shortened, in dem. And dem is the dative of das. So, whenever you say in dem, you could also say im. It's just easier. So those are the two situations where in morphs. And if you remember those, it's really easy to identify the case of in and just to see what it means. So don't get confused. In has a few different incarnations. If you have any more questions about this, be sure and comment below and I will try to get back to you. And join me for the next video. So I'll see you next time. Tschüss!